All right, hello and welcome to a roundup of the best products I've used over the past 12 months. The products I actually use on a regular basis and which I rate, and these are not sponsored at all. Genuine, honest, unbiased opinions. I've got loads of products to go through today, starting with these electric mini pumps. These are perhaps the most surprising product of 2025 for me because I'm surprised how popular they become and how I've been won over by their ease of use and simplicity. I've been testing these two for the past 6 months. A full review is coming very soon because initially I was skeptical about these replacing a good old-fashioned mini pump with no batteries to run out, but impressed I have been. There are now dozens of electric pumps on the market. This brand is probably the most popular if you do a Google search for electric cycling mini pumps, and they come in different sizes. I have a small one here and a large one. This one for me has been perfect for traveling abroad in place of a track pump, ideal for inflating a tire when you get to your destination abroad. And this one is perfect for going on rides, goes in a saddlebag, yes really, and in the down tube of my mountain bike or in a jersey pocket if you want. And I've been impressed with how well they work, how reliable they've been, and how quickly they inflate a tire when you get a puncture. And the real game changer of these two particular models for me is the inclusion of a pressure gauge on the back. That for me is a big game changer. You simply set the pressure, then pop it on the valve, press a button, and in a few seconds and a bit of noise, you'll have a tire perfectly inflated to the same pressure you set off a few hours ago when you left the house. So that for me is a real game changer. And the battery run time does have a limit compared to a mini pump, which never runs out of battery at all, just down to your arm and your biceps. I've had this in my saddlebag for the last 7 months and the battery run time hasn't been an issue. If I get one puncture on a ride, that's a bad day, and it's more than enough for 2, 3, 4 inflations up to my usual pressure of 55, 60 PSI. And you charge it when you get home with USB-C, and so far I've not had an issue with the battery runtime at all. So that fear over the runtime, battery going flat when you actually need it in an emergency, hasn't been an issue at all. There are downsides though. They're not lightweight compared to a mini pump. They're quite expensive, although prices are coming down all the time. But the big issue for me is the fact they're not waterproof. They come with a plastic bag, like a jiffy bag, which is not ideal. So that really is the main downside, is the fact they're not waterproof. But that aside, they are a genuinely impressive product and one that definitely won me over during my time testing them, and easily my standout product of 2025. Next up, my favorite road tire of 2025, the Pirelli P0, both the regular version and the RS on my Carnago C68 behind me there. There are several reasons I like these tires. Firstly, they come in different widths from 28, 30 to 32, which I have right there, right now, up to 35, ideal for all-road and endurance road bikes, and even a whopping 40mm wide tyre for turning a gravel bike into a road bike, or if you want max traction and comfort on your road bike, if it fits those tyres. There are two versions, the regular and the RS, the racier, lightweight version, which I have on the bike there. The tyres have been very durable and very reliable in my testing. Fewer punctures than the Conti GP5000 on my crappy roads here in the Cotswolds, and wear rate on both tyres, even the RS, is very good too, so you get good life from the tyres, which are quite expensive, as most top-end tyres are. Installation is a breeze, both on hooked and hookless wheels, with no tubeless installation woes at all, and they hold air very well, even with no sealant in the tyres as well, so that's a bonus, and means you don't have to regularly inflate the tyres before a ride. And then that's how the tyres feel. They're clearly quick, both in my testing against the benchmark Conti GP5000 STR, and also in testing by the Bicycle Rolling Resistance website, linked down below. And also the ride quality is fantastic as well. The overused word supple is definitely a word that applies here. They are very supple. They have a very nice feel over crappy road surfaces, definitely give you good feedback on the road surface beneath the tyre, and grip levels are insanely good too, both in the dry and also in the wet as well. Sometimes with top-end race tyres, they're fantastic in the dry, but the fall off in grip in the wet is pretty dramatic, but these hold up really well in a range of conditions, so a tyre you can use year round. So those are the tyres that have impressed me the most over the past 12 months. So the speed, the grip, the easy installation, the choice of regular and a racy version, and a wide variety of widths as well. And do let me know if you tried these tyres yourself by dropping a comment down below. I've tested a bunch of saddles over the past 12 months, but my go-to is still the Physique Argo Adaptive. Not a new saddle, but definitely my favorite for two reasons. The shape, which works really well for me, and saddles, yes, are subjective, so what works for me may not work for you, but I reckon lots of people will be fine on this shape saddle. And then the 3D printed honeycomb structure, which does lead to a high price, but prices are gradually coming down. But what I like about the honeycomb construction is, whereas the foam padding on a regular conventional saddle does compress and stay compressed and does contribute to less comfort in long rides, in my experience, this honeycomb remains more supportive and gives a floaty feeling over the saddle, and that means more comfort on long rides. So for a century ride, this is my go-to every day of the week. And then the shape. I really like the shape. It's quite broad and wide at the back and quite a wide nose. This is great when you're cruising along on the tops and you've got plenty of support for your sit bones. And then when you are on a rivet in a chain gang or a race, you've got a nice broad nose with quite a bit of cushioning there, so you're not getting a pain up front, and that small relief channel there, and it's a bit squishy in the middle as well, so less pressure down the middle of your area there, shall we say. And I've been riding a saddle for probably over 18 months now, and the durability has been fantastic. A bit of wear along the sides, but it's still in one piece. It hasn't fallen apart. It's easy to clean despite what people may say about mud getting stuck in the channels there. So that is my go-to saddle. Comes in different options with base and rail options, but this is a cheaper version with regular rails, which fits more bikes more easily, and it's a bit heavier. But you don't really need carbon rails on a saddle, I don't think, unless you're a weight weenie and have plenty of money to spend on a saddle. While top-end group sets are easy to like for all the performance and their low weights, for me, the really exciting group sets are the more affordable versions. And one of my favourite group sets of the past few years have been SRAM's Rival Access, both for the price, the performance, the gear range, and the brakes. And this year, the Rival group set got a big update and better than ever before, and easily the best group set launch in 2025, and a group set I'd happily ride and might put on my old giant TCR next year for a video. Stay tuned for that. So SRAM basically gave its Rival group set, and also Force in the middle, the same treatment as its Red group set last year, with much improved ergonomics on the hoods. Now vastly superior to the old Rival, a big improvement, and as good or maybe better than Shimano, the benchmark for ergonomics. Both a better feel in the hands, and the lighter brake levers are amazing. Just make riding a bike a much nicer experience when the brakes are easier to operate, both with one finger, two finger braking in the hoods or in the drops. And the group set comes in two options as well. They're 2x12 with a double chain set, or 1x13 with the Explore for gravel and endurance road bikes. So plenty of options depending on what you want. And on the 2x12 side, I love the gear ratios that SRAM offers, with bigger cassettes and smaller chain set options than what Shimano offers, which for me suits the requirement and demands of regular real-world cyclists doing sporties and Grand Fondos. And we're not racing, we don't have Chris Froome levels of power, and they give us the gear ranges we need to actually tackle the climbs, which is a part of a ride that most people will struggle on compared to flat roads and downhills. So having gear ratios that actually help you, benefit you on the climbs, which is why I really like the SRAM group sets, and I think Rival does a really good job of bringing that technology and performance to a low price point. I've also been testing loads of bike computers over the past 12 months, and I'm doing a group test in the new year. The Hammerhead Karoo 3, the Garmin Edge 1040, 1050, and the Chorus Jura. But my go-to, my daily driver, as it were, is the brand new Wahoo Element Roam 3. And the reason I like the Roam is perhaps the size and the screen size is the Goldilocks, especially in the Wahoo range, compared to the Bolt and the Ace, but also the computer world at large. The screen is big enough for me to easily see the data on it at a glance, whether the power number or the average speed or following a route on the navigation page, but not so big that it takes over your handlebars like the bigger Ace. I love the fact we have both a touchscreen, but also physical buttons for controlling the menus and going through different options as well. The navigation works extremely well, both getting a route onto the computer and following that route on the navigation page. And I used this for Badlands and didn't miss a turn in 800 kilometers of racing. So that for me is a good test of the navigation of a computer. The battery life is also very good too, and it lasted a staggering 20 hours in Badlands with heart rate, power, and following a route. So very impressive indeed. And it's generally been a very reliable and easy computer to work. The only gremlin I've had is when it ran out of battery during Badlands and went flat because my battery bank failed. My activity from that race is still locked in here. I can't get it off the computer onto the Wahoo app or Strava. I've logged an error with Wahoo, and they're apparently looking into it, and there's no problem. That being the only blemish on an otherwise, perfect product. Another product that isn't new, but one I still use all the time, is the Redshift suspension stem. I love how easy it is to add more comfort to a gravel bike. You could use it on a road bike, I guess, too, but I use it mostly off-road, where comfort is a bigger factor. You're riding down bumpy trails, and it's a bit jarring on a stiff carbon fiber gravel bike, but adding this just improved comfort by allowing the handlebar to get up and down. It's a small range of movement and enough that it requires some getting used to, but getting used to it, you definitely do. And you can customize how easy it moves and tune it for your body weight with elastomers inside, which you can remove and replace with different body weights, or to tune it if you want it softer or firmer. I have it quite firm, so it only works on sort of bigger impacts and doesn't move around too much, because it can feel a bit unsettling if it moves around too much. But once you tuned it in and got it set up, it works really well. It also looks fairly good as well for a suspension stem. Doesn't add too much weight, but it is heavier if you're a weight weenie. And yeah, the price they're not cheap, but they do a pro version and a regular version. This is a pro version that looks more premium. So an easy way to boost comfort on a gravel bike. If you're doing a long bike packing ride over rough terrain, I'll definitely consider adding one of these. The only downside is if you have a one-piece handlebar and stem, you can't fit this, so it does require a regular conventional handlebar and external routing. So product I use frequently, if I'm doing a bike packing ride, I'll fit this. It's a no-brainer really to fit this on a bike for a long distance multi-day ride with luggage. As somebody who wears contact lenses, I always wear glasses to protect my eyes from crap, and I think most people wear glasses on a bike anyway. And my favorite glasses are now the brand new Rudy Project Spin Shield Pro. You might see me wearing these in bike reviews over the past few months. Firstly, I think they look cool as hell. That big lens design, that means when you put them on, there's nothing to obstruct your field of view at all, nothing to get in the way of your vision. So when you head down, right on the rim of the saddle, there's nothing in the way. It just gives amazing clarity, amazing view of the road and countryside around you. They're very lightweight as well, and there's no creaky or squeaky noises like you get with cheap glasses, so very well built. They come in loads of colors, loads of tint options as well, and the lens quality is fantastic. First class optics, great clarity, great contrast, saturation, depending on what lens you go for. The nose piece is nice and tactile and grippy and stays on your nose, and the arms are thin and work well with my HJC helmets and a bit of grippy material on the insides. There's also now ventilation on the top of the lens to avoid them fogging up when riding up steep climbs, which does work well when I'm being abroad, riding sunny climbs. The only downside for me is the hooked arm there, which does mean they stay in place really well on your head. Does make them tricky to fit into your helmet vents. That's the only downside, the only blemish on an otherwise really good product. So hopefully next year you might see a version with a straight arm that can be put into helmet vents. That's the only improvement I would offer to Rudy Project for these. But otherwise, love them, look fantastic. Those are my go-to shades in 2025. Mudguards ain't sexy, are they? But a soggy, muddy bottom isn't sexy either. And for that reason, The R-Saver Wind Wing mudguards are one of my favourite products. They do a road version, a mountain bike version, and a gravel version. They're inexpensive, they're lightweight, they're easy to fit and remove in seconds and fit any bike and just give you a drier bottom than you have otherwise. And while they're not as good as full-length proper mudguards, they do stop a surprising amount of spray and mud from the rear wheel flicking up onto your bottom, your lower back, and just stops you having a brown stripe up your back when you go to a cafe mid-ride. So if there's any chance of rain or the roads are wet and grotty, whether the road bike or a gravel bike, I fit the R-Saver Wind Wing just because it, like I say, fits in seconds, doesn't cost much, it's lightweight, and I don't think it looks too bad. Don't look amazing, don't get me wrong, but better than having a soggy bottom. And then my favourite bike clothing of the year has been the Castelli Espresso range. Now, for full disclosure and transparency, the channel is sponsored by Castelli, but even if it wasn't, I'll be wearing the clothing and recommending it here because I think it's the best clothing you can buy right now. Castelli have an amazing reputation for development of race-proven clothing, the Gabba and other iconic outfits in their range, but the Espresso brings all that experience, all that expertise into a range of really solid, no nonsense, no gimmick clothing that works well. You probably see me wearing the clothing in most of my videos over the past 12 months, the past 2 years. It's simple, there's no garish logos or slogans, just a small scorpion. The fabrics are well chosen, fit is fantastic, it's close fitting without being tight, but not too baggy, just perfect fit. The placement of the seams and the panels is just first class. The padding in the shorts is top notch, the best quality you find, and the comfort from the shorts is fantastic. I wore one pair of Castelli shorts for 2.5 days doing Badlands and had no discomfort down below at all. And there's a range of colours, really cool colours as well, so you can colour match tops and bottoms as you want and create an outfit to suit your mood and suit the weather, whatever sort of person you are. So for me, it's the simplicity of the design, but backed up by that expertise and experience of fabric design and seam placement and panel shape that makes it clothing that just works really well. It disappears in the background when you're riding, don't notice it at all. And all the functional details are on point. So yeah, I'm sponsored by Castelli, and you might think I'm biased. And I've tested loads of clothing over the last few decades as a bike journalist. So that's been my go-to clothing for the past 12 months. Alongside the surprising popularity of electric pumps of the last few years has been the surprising popularity of radar rear lights. And Garmin definitely pioneered the market and made a market for radar rear lights. Wahoo are now joining the party with their version, and one that works very well and has numerous cool features. Firstly, it looks really seamless on a bike, the way it fits onto the seat post with a clamp, very smooth, very nicely designed, and you have a quarter turn mount to easily remove it as well. USB-C charging, so it charges very quickly. The runtime is fantastic, up to 20 hours if you want it, with the light off but the radar on, and the light only comes on when a car is detected. So that's really cool for really preserving the battery life, and only working when it actually detects a car. But right now it's winter, and even during daytime riding, I have the rear light on. And it works extremely well with Wahoo computers, as you'd expect. Integration is fantastic. It does work with Garmin and Chorus computers as well as ANT Plus and Bluetooth. But the integration with Wahoo computers is very good. And since I use a Wahoo Roam, it makes sense to use a Wahoo rear light. So you get the column on the side of the screen to show you a car approaching, and the audio alerts you can have on or off. And then from the computer, you can set the light mode and change how bright it is and whether it's flashing or static, and being able to change it from the computer during a ride is very cool. So if you're doing a gravel ride, a ride on the road, have it max brightness, head off into the woods, turn the brightness down or turn it off entirely, all from the computer without touching the button on here. And when you get home from a ride, it will shut off automatically, so you basically don't have to worry about the light at all, and the Wahoo will tell you when a battery needs charging. So one less thing to worry about. It's easy to be skeptical about the benefits of radar technology on a bicycle. I mean, what can you do with the data? But it's nice knowing a car is approaching because it detects a car way before you hear a car approaching. And on the roads I ride, quiet country lanes where you don't see cars that often, it's nice to have that early warning of a car approaching. So that for me is another product I use on a regular basis and one of the best products to launch in 2025. So those are my standout products from 2025, the products I genuinely use and genuinely rate. What do you think of my selection? Do you agree, disagree? What products are your favorites from the past 12 months? Do let me know by dropping a comment down below. And if you want to see some of my predictions for tech trends in 2026, then do watch the video right up here. But that is all for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again very soon.